Thousands were in Banbury for the final round of Formula Rally. After 6 rallies, there was everything to play for at the top of the leaderboard. In prospect, a Ford versus Peugeot head-to-head. A party atmosphere, but some serious sport to be concluded. Either Martin Rowe or Justin Dale would take the title.
Well, it looks good on there, so we've got to give it everything, and we will be giving it everything to keep that for next year.
In the previous round, Dale smashed a drive shaft and was forced to retire, something he found hard to handle as Rowe gained the advantage.
Well, it can't get any worse than that, can it? Broken drive shaft, but it would have been nice to have won that one. We were 17 or more seconds up, then it was taken away from us. Tomorrow we're just going to go for the win. Bit of luck, and we'll be there at the end of the day.
Dale had to win this rally to take the title, otherwise Martin Rowe would win the championships. Dominant in the early rounds, Rowe had been struggling to match Dale recently.
It's going to be a big battle, very short stages. Everything to lose in a way. We've got some very short stuff. There's one stage that's only a mile long, so the slightest mistake you're going to pay for it dearly. There's the same for everybody, and we've just got to go for it. It's absolutely flat out from the word-go.
Which is a Rowe hallmark. His performance this season has played a massive part in Ford winning the Manufacturers' Championship.
We've proved that the Puma is a very competitive car and it's won the championship, so from their point of view they've achieved their goal. Now it's down to me to get the Drivers' Championship.
But before daylight, Banbury was out to celebrate and give Formula Rally quite a send-off. Most people had their minds in party mode, but not everyone. The finale of Formula Rally will begin soon after dawn the following day. For some, the party had only just ended when Martin Rowe attacked the opening stages of the Banbury Rally. The pressure was really on the Ford team.
Right 9 at 130.
And the pressure was showing as Rowe lost control of the Puma.
Okay, it's all right, it's all right. Right 9 and left 9, 70. It's all right. Good
With
recovery.
Rowe furious at himself, Chris Wood complimented his recovery and did everything to keep the mood inside the car composed.
70 through water, 70. Crest and bump, 100 onto tarmac.
A well done from Wood. Rowe was complaining.
We had a problem on the second stage, the end of the second stage. There's a lot of bumps and I took it flat out, bouncing around a lot up the hedge and things, but we broke the pipe on the top of the damper, so all the oil's come out. We've got no damping on the left strut, so it's costing us quite a bit of time.
Justin Dale, unaware that Rowe had any issues, was delivering the contents of his pre-start talk and driving flat out. His task was crystal clear: win this rally and win the Drivers' Championship. After the first stage, he was at the top of the leaderboard.
Opens 150. Braking, turn square left. Bad mud, tidy. 80.
Bargery had warned Dale of mud. And their works Peugeot grappled with the glue. This was where vital seconds could be lost. Seconds that could make the difference between taking the Formula Rally title or not. But Dale was handling the mud, the car and the pressure well. Going into stage 4 of 14 in Cornbury Park, the Peugeot pair was still leading, Rowe just behind. Inside the Peugeot, Dale was letting rip.
150, bump braking left 3 and right 8.
But as he pushed the Peugeot, he tripped, and the works car span. It shocked Dale, and he drove straight across the stage, lost and panicking.
Where are we? Where have we got to go?
Deb,
There.
With Bargery splattering instructions and the spectators pointing the way, a dazed Dale tried to pull himself together. But this was the first stage he'd failed to deliver the fastest time. More significantly, though, he was no longer leading the rally. As he shook his head, Dale reflected on the mistake.
We just went off in there.
Sorry? Did you?
Big spin.
Yeah, I think so.
We were in the lead, but just trying too hard in there, I think. But don't worry, fight's on.
He was probably not expecting a fight with Matt Anderson and Claire Mole. The Works Proton team had nothing to lose. Too many previous retirements meant they were out of the hunt for the overall championships, but ending a patchy season on a high was their agenda. With Rowe and Dale playing pirouettes in the early stages, the Proton Works team were less wild,
60.
but quicker. After 4 stages, Anderson and Moore were leading and making sure this rally would not just be about Rowe and Dale, something David Higgins related to. After coming so close to a rally win in the previous round and finishing second, Higgins was out to improve on that in this season's Formula Rally finale. All the ingredients were there to make that happen. The Polo seemed to be cured of its early season mechanical issues, and Higgins was driving fast.
Right 5 over crest, 30. Turn right 1 plus, narrow exit. 50.
The VW team had always looked potent on paper, but after the early season disappointment, confidence was down. But Higgins demonstrated that has all changed. There was no lack of confidence here as the Polo pair straightened the Cornbury corners. If this team could win the rally, then Justin Dale's title hopes would be over. It was an intriguing situation, but not one which affected Simon Major, who was engrossed in a head-to-head for the season's Top Privateer award. He'd taken top slot in that category in the last round, and at the end of an unconventional season that saw him transfer from Puma to Proton, missing out a rally in between, the bodywork, or rather lack of it on his car, told of the intensity of his battle with the Peugeot and Martin Sanson. When his hardware had been performing, Sanson had been impressive, often mixing it with the works teams. But he had not always finished, and as he blasted around the 4th stage, the Peugeot sounded a little off colour. Again, Sanson's rally was going to be far from straightforward.
Gearbox is broken, so we're just limping through. We're trying to get through the next one to get back to service. Another gearbox change.
And if that did not go well, it could open the door for Max McKillen. Out of contention for top slot in the Privateers Championship, the Irish driver was, as always, driving his Saxo hard. This Saxo has a punishing life, but the battle scars at the Banbury Rally were minimal so far. Whilst his pocket rocket is a familiar sight on the scene, this is not. It was in the rally rules that Peugeot must enter their new 206 at some point in the series. No surprises then when this green machine arrived in Banbury. Some manufacturers were probably rubbing their hands in glee at the prospect of Justin Dale trying to take the title in a car that is untried. But the Peugeot team was smart. Dale entered the rally in the car he knew inside out, and the keys to the new Peugeot given to Barbara Armstrong. A slick tactical move by the management team. Most drivers, though, live in a rather different world. There are no works team bosses pulling the strings in Paul Wedgbury's campaign. This privateer jumped through hoops to fund his campaign, but has delivered some outstanding drives this season. He was leading the Welsh Rally until mechanical problems forced him out. He's a resourceful driver, but even his resolve could not sort this problem out. A 3-wheeled Saxo meant the end of his Formula Rally season.
The last 3 left on the rally sprint circuit, and we just swung around the 3 left, and the back end just swung into the arm cone, pulled the back wheel off, you know, so it's not a lot of damage. It's superficial, you know, it's damage to the body's nothing, you know, but it's just broken the back axle, so obviously we can't carry on with 3 wheels.
Another early bath for Wedgbury, something Mats Andersson knows all about. But this time the Swedish driver was leading. Until...
Right 2 plus Titans, what the hell's that? Underbridged. Jesus Christ. It's getting worse or better?
It was getting worse. Inside the smoky cockpit, Anderson tried to nurse the injured Proton round the stage. But the hazard warning lights told the story. The leader of the Banbury Rally was in trouble. Disappointment for Proton, some relief for Peugeot, because if Mats Andersson could win, then Dale could not win the title. For now, though, Justin Dale was back in charge, and on a charge. The Peugeot driver had taken control of the rally as it approached the halfway stage. But the battle at the top was as intense as always. Rose Puma ready to pounce if Dale failed to push the Peugeot to the limit or pushed too hard.
4 late. cut, maybe.
Rowe was not just cutting corners, he was slicing through the stages to try and claw back time on Dale.
And left.
He was worried though, he was low on fuel. In the other works Puma, Patrick Magot was having a less fraught, but less remarkable day. His best single stage performance was 7th. The French driver was comfortable in 3rd place overall for the season and had already earned points that contributed to Ford winning the Manufacturers' Trophy. It had been a solid season for Magot, who was in virgin territory at almost every rally. But he's been a frequent visitor to the podium. But it was not looking like a champagne finish was in prospect this time. And as Martin Rowe drove back to the service area, any prospect of Magot finishing looked a little remote. The French driver had run out of fuel, his day over. And there was another Puma gasping for a drink.
We very nearly didn't make it here. We started with a full tank of fuel, and you are allowed to refuel on the road section in commercial filling stations. We cannot do that. Our car is fitted with a World Rally Car style fueling refiller, and it needs a special nozzle. You can't fill it with a commercial filling station. We were aware it was a close run thing. There was absolutely nothing we could do about it.
But they had made it back, and it was time at last to change those dampers and sort out problems that have been with Rowe since early in the day.
You know, we've lost time since stage 2. We've had no oil in the left-hand front damper, so the car's been all over the place, really. It's been, you know, unpredictable on the fast stuff, and at slightest bump and the car just goes in the air. So, you know, we were surprised at the times that we were doing, considering the problems we had. So, you know, we'll get it fixed and push hard this afternoon.
Dale was explaining his moments off the track to team boss Mick Linford.
No, we're only just in the lead. We can't really relax too much, but no, we really need to push on this next loop. The car's running faultlessly, really. It's just very tight. Yeah, you always are a bit more relaxed after the first few stages. You get into a rhythm, and we need to keep that now and actually get some of that time back we lost earlier to just have a little bit of an easier afternoon, really. But no, it's going to be tight all the way, I can see that.
Well, we expected it to be intense, and it is. There's quite a battle between Rowe and Dale at the front, but at the moment, it's advantage Dale. We'll see you for the conclusion after the break. Broken gearboxes, clutches and Martin Sansom are a familiar collective sight on Formula Rally. In the world of the privateer, the driver's job does not stop in the service area, it just changes. But there was great motivation to find a service area solution for Sansom, as Simon Major would walk away with the season's privateer prize if he failed, and the privately run Proton was going well. The works version had gone up in smoke.
We decided this morning that it was just going to have to be maximum attack out the box, and that's exactly what we did. Everything was working brilliantly, and we're in Silverstone. We were left with first, second and fifth gear, and then we lost the engine after that.
There's not much we can do about it now, so it's just keep on biting and see if we can sort something out for next year. So that's rally.
Come out. Ginger, is it safe to come out yet?
A very different atmosphere in the VW camp. A sorted car, a smiling team, and a determined driver.
At the end of the day, all I want to do is to try and bring the best result for myself and Volkswagen, and I don't give a monkeys at the end of the day. I'm just trying as hard as I possibly can, because I want to win this rally much more than anybody else wants me to win it. So we're just keeping going absolutely maximum and seeing what we can do.
As Higgins left the Banbury service area, he had everything to play for. For Matt Sanderson, game over. Outside the Formula Rally, the single-mate championships were coming to a conclusion. In the VW Polo Rally Challenge, David Bateson spent 30 seconds here, but 5th in Banbury was enough to give him the title. Rory Gallagher was more emphatic in the Super 106 Cup, with a 22-second margin at the top of the leaderboard. He won the event and the championship. But it was much closer in the Ford Pumas, David Henderson taking the season's honours by 0.7 of a second. There was every prospect that both the rally and the championship would come down to just a few seconds in Formula Rally. And if David Higgins could really deliver, he may determine who would win the Drivers' Championship. Higgins was back in Cornbury Park, but whilst he'd been away, the marshals had erected a fence to stop him. Nice idea, but Higgins was on a roll and starting to look unstoppable, and now leading the rally. Dale was within a couple of seconds of the VW driver, but his grip on the rally and the championship had, for now at least, gone. Second at this rally would not be good enough, There was no option. Dale had to drive out of his skin. He was pushing the Peugeot incredibly hard and regained the lead over Higgins and Rowe. Rowe's day was not going according to plan. There were only seconds in it, but he was just off the pace.
Left 5 and left 8 opens to left 4, 30.
For the team who'd made the early part of the season look like a one-car show, the miles were running out. Unless they could catch Dale, or unless the VW team beat Dale, they would not win the championships. And that was not an option Rowe wanted to consider. He pushed the Puma to the boundaries. It was wild to watch. It was fast driving. Rowe smashed the flying finish and pulled the cables through the undergrowth. More to worry about for the marshals. Martin Sansom and Phil Wells had sorted out their mechanical issues and were fast in the final stages. It's been an eventful season for them and a successful one. They secured the Privateers Championship from Simon Major, but were pushed all the way. As daylight slipped into darkness, the season was nearly over, but the championship was still not decided.
Well, I don't know the maths. I'm a driver, I'm a simple driver, but, you know, it's just not possible, unless he has a problem. So we'll just go flat out and do our best.
Formula Rally, though, has seen dramatic endings before. As the co-drivers studied what they had to do, they all reached the same conclusion.
Right, so going for the last two, I think we'll all just have to go flat out. What do you reckon?
Yeah. The pressure's still on the same. We've got to get through these quick and clean. Not necessarily be the quickest through there, but just make sure we get back here.
Dale had to protect his lead. The season would be decided in the final two stages and 6 miles of rallying in the dark at Silverstone. There was lots at stake, and it showed. One false move and Dale's season could self-destruct. The Polo team moved in for the kill. Would VW decide who won the championship?
Right 3 plus him.
Taking risks could end the day for any of the teams, but brave moves well executed could decide the game. And brave was how the Polo team would play.
Right 3 plus, I think you talk about the commercial structure.
Martin Rowe and Chris Wood were ready to go. No one had given up inside this car.
Right 5, 40 to right 6 late.
Pitch black, huge pressure. The Ford team carved their own course and were blisteringly quick.
And right 6 in, long left 6. Right 5 opens to right 4 in, 40, right 7.
One stage down, just one to go. Mick Linford, the Peugeot team manager, agonised over times. Justin Dale had finished, intact, but was he quick? Miles away at the Banbury service area, the Peugeot mechanics waited. The results of this season will be delivered by mobile phone. There was no let-up in the tension as Martin Rowe returned after completing an incredibly fast penultimate stage.
Just tell me what time difference you've got between Martin and Justin then.
Ford had eaten into Peugeot's advantage.
And that's after the first Silverstone.
A repeat performance by Rowe could take the title. The Ford left for the final stage of the season. Mick Linford started his countdown to the championship decider. As the Peugeot, VW and Ford screamed round Silverstone, there was silence and careful calculation in the Banbury service area. A very different atmosphere as Higgins made his final charge in the Polo.
Extra late right 2 plus 20. Right 6 opens and tightens in the right 4 minus in and left 3 plus. In the right 5 tightens in past junction into left 5. 50.
At least football managers can watch the game. Mick Linford and the Peugeot team's year was over as Justin Dale completed his final stage.
Just at that first one, we followed the exact route where every cone was, just to be safe. And you could see where they just took everything down then, so...
You knew they'd have to cheat to beat you, Justin.
Fingers crossed, I don't know yet, but no, we had to push again in that one, so... That's the way it goes, isn't it?
But had Dale pushed hard enough? Rowe was still out there. The season's still not decided. Rowe had created his own much shorter stage. Dale had not dared to risk doing this, but would Dale pay the price?
Right 6 opens to 5. Right 6 in. Going to right 4 in, left 4 40, right 7.
Or could the Polo pair spoil the Peugeot party?
Thank you, mate.
Where does Higgins come in the mix?
31 we did. 31.
Higgins had not beaten Dale, and it hurt. Only one driver could spoil Linford's season, and Martin Rowe had finished the final stage. Mobile phones were ready in Banbury. The final stage was over. Had Rowe beaten Dale at the wire? Mick Linford thought he knew. Martin Rowe knew for sure.
3:25.2.
Justin Dale had done enough to win the rally and the championship by just 9 seconds.
Martin, the news?
Well, we haven't beaten Justin.
How do you feel about that?
Obviously very disappointed. You know, everyone at Boreham, at Ford, you know, everyone at Rapid Fit and everybody at Pirelli has worked really hard, and the goal was to win the championship. Early on it was looking good. It went downhill from the Scottish. We broke down, but you know, we tried our hardest today. We've had some problems and just wasn't good enough today.
Bitter disappointment for Martin Rowe, but he was a major player in quite a finale. In the end, he couldn't quite do enough. Victory for Dale, celebration and relief for Mick Linford.
It's been an extremely close rally. It's been superb right up to the last stage. I think Justin's got about 8 seconds. Drove superbly all day, but so has Martin. But better man won. What can you say about it?
So plenty to smile about for Peugeot. Matt Sanderson just made it on the leaderboard. In the end, though, it was a head-to-head, equal points between Rowe and Dale, decided on countback. It's been quite a duel.
I can't explain how I feel at the moment. It's just chuffed to bits. And myself, Andrew, we've worked hard together this year and really come good at the end.
This year it's been the Premier Championship in the UK, and to win it, I mean, it's fabulous. I mean, it'll take a few days to sink in, I guess.
So their end-of-season form took Volkswagen onto the podium in the Manufacturers' Championship. Ford, though, won this with an event to spare. Formula Rally has confronted a difficult season head-on. We've seen some impressive new talent, with privateers putting the works teams under real pressure. And we've seen a Drivers' Championship decided in the final minutes of the season. And what a season it's been.
Formula Rally's back on the 1st of December, and for UK and international motorsport news, visit 4car.co.uk. Next up on 4, it's Transworld Sport.